Hey guys, it's Todd from Like-Minded Lunatics bringing you another Drink, Play, Swear. It's all we do around here. It's all the Jedi Council approve for us to do around here. We're glad you're with us. While I'm thinking about it, please hit that subscribe button. It's right there in the bottom right corner of this screen right now, so it's super easy to do, and I hope you do it because we constantly would love to find out how big this group of like-minded weirdos and degenerates is getting, and we don't know that unless you hit that subscribe button. So please do that. While you're on the channel, don't just check out the Drink, Play, Swears. Check out my good buddy and writing partner's content, Mark Gifford. He does the Friday night videos. It's just the best stuff. It's just the best stuff on the channel. I hope you'll check it out if you haven't already. So here at Drink, Play, Swear, what we do is real simple if you're new to this area. We play a game, usually a classic one. We have a beverage, and I tell you a story. So, all right, let's get to it. Let's quit messing around. This is a pretty cool game. Here, let me back out so you can see the title screen. This is King of the Dragons, or is it just King of Dragons? The King of Dragons. All right, semantics. Although it doesn't say, oh, it does. The King of Dragons. This is a Capcom beat 'em up. You know me, I like a Capcom beat 'em up. So this should be good. I haven't played this game much at all. Just fooled around with it a little bit before I kicked this on today. But you know me, I like a Capcom beat 'em up. I played Final Fight before. You can go check out that one there. I mean, that's probably for me the king of all beat 'em ups. But who knows? This one might be on par, or maybe better. Who knows? Well, you know what's got nothing on par with it is the Jim Beam and Coke that I've got here. No, nothing else gets close. That's great. So have a beverage with me here, alcoholic or otherwise. Just kick back and play a game with me. All right. And look at this nice little player select screen with plenty of options. Don't really know what each of them do, but we'll find out. That's the fun thing. I wasn't too intimidated just to pick this one up and play it because it is an arcade port. I don't even know if they created any home console versions of this, but these arcade ports are great because you can just keep hitting the start button and it's like you put a quarter in. So the result is I can just have some fun, get loose, check out some of these cool graphics and gameplay with you, and tell the story. I love this. You know, this is before the quote 3D era that we had in the the mid 90s when we started with the Sony PlayStation and the N64 and all that. But look what wonderful things they were doing with 2D graphics. You see that we've got like layers here. We've got the background, which even on the game looks like painted mountains and skyline. Then you have your sort of closer area, the tree line here that you see moves over the other background, and then you've got your foreground with your characters and the parts of the background that you can manipulate. Ooh, look at this guy. All right, I can already tell you what I like about this. It reminds me of the Ninja Turtles game, arcade game, because you've got your health bar. You see, what the health bar did was if you were playing with quarters and you had like only one quarter left and you saw that health bar was so high that you probably were wasting your money, you'd cut this, you go, forget it, we failed today, and you go play Pac-Man. But if he's down here with like these two red bars and you need to put in a quarter in, you're gonna waste your last quarter on it because you just want to see what comes next in the game. We didn't have the internet. We only had what our friends told us and what we'd seen. So here I would get to say, yeah, I played that the other day. I beat the Orc King. Wow, Orc King. Yeah, I beat him, but who else did you get to? All right, let's get to the story today. And I'm excited to tell you this one. I've told you a few stories about my New York years from 2006, 2007, 2008. I thought it was finally time to tell one of the big ones, and that is moving to New York. Because you can move to a lot of places and it's not much of a story. You just go, yeah, I got a job. So, we looked around, we got an apartment, got a bank account, and off we were trying out the restaurants. Even if you've just visited New York, you know that it's not a casual encounter with a city. This city is an intense city, you know what I mean? It's like New York decides whether it's going to accept you or not. And sometimes it takes quite a while for it to decide on you. Look at this guy. I have to say, in terms of character design and the way they're doing these bosses and stuff, this is a fun game. I would have pumped a ton of quarters into this game. What is happening? Look at this. Oh, yeah. This is rad. Okay. So, we decided we were interested, my wife and I, she was my fiance at the time. We decided we wanted to move to New York. We wanted to do some grad school. I was intimidated by the idea, but it's something my wife had always dreamed of doing. She was my fiance at the time, but she's my wife now. I'm going to just refer to her as my wife the rest of the way. I defeated the Minotaur. Can you just be on my side about this? Okay. So, she'd always wanted to live there because I said, why? She said, because the idea scares me. And that's just the type of person she is. For those of you out there like that, you kind of feel like you know what she was feeling. I tend to walk away from the things that scare me, but she's a brave soul, and she said, I see people do it, and they do it every day. If we can, let's do it. So we both applied to schools in New York, and we said, all right, if we both get in, let's go for it. We did indeed both get into schools in New York City, so it was like, all right, let's go, we're doing it. But the problem is not only was it a more difficult time because technology was not quite to where it is today, but also we were young and didn't know what we were doing. So 2006, the iPhone has not come out yet, or the true smartphone hasn't come out yet. We had Blackberries, which was okay, and everyone else had Blackberries too. And guess what? Craigslist was out. Craigslist was like a real primary way that you found an apartment someplace because they would do listings there. So we start looking on Craigslist for a place in New York from San Antonio. This is May of 2006, and we were going to move there in August of 2006. So we had a couple of months. We thought we'd be prudent. Oh, check this guy out. I don't know how to hit him in the air. Okay. We thought, let's be prudent and let's start hunting, and maybe we can secure a place. So we start looking on Craigslist, but it's hard, man, because we don't know the New York City neighborhoods. So, like, it means nothing to us. If you know nothing about New York, you're going to know what I mean. What if I told you, like, 264 East 34th Street? Now, if you're a New Yorker, you'd know exactly what I was talking about. You'd know what the neighborhood was known for. You'd know if it was a neighborhood primarily of a certain ethnic group. You would know if there was a good deli there. You would know all kinds of things, even if you hadn't spent much time there as a local. But I just didn't know anything. I had visited once for a weekend, New York City. So it was hard. And because it was a BlackBerry, the grainy images on this thing, I had no idea what I was looking at. And I can defeat a green dragon. So we were intimidated. Well, I finally get the nerve to call this guy, and it's like hard to figure out because also the price points are way different than what we're used to. It's way more than we're used to paying for way less space. I'm gonna change it up and like try the dwarf here. He looks pretty cool. But I'm gonna pause it and give you a little time here, and my beverage a little time. So I call this guy up. I see the listing. Well, it looks expensive, and I know nothing about the neighborhood, but it looks like less expensive than the other listings, and it's a full one-bedroom, not an efficiency, which for those of you who don't know what an efficiency is, it's one room and a bathroom. So I call him up, and this is pretty much our phone conversation. He says, hello. I say, oh, hi. I saw your listing on Craigslist for the apartment on X and X Street. We're interested in it. So what's the process like? What do you need from us? He says, okay, well, you got a cosigner? I said, I can get a cosigner, sure, whatever you need. He said, okay, great. So just you come to the address at 4 o'clock later today, and we'll see. If I haven't talked to somebody else first, we'll see if you can get in. I said, oh, well, no. I was going to be there after summer, August. I was trying to secure it for August. He goes, no, friend, this is going today. Somebody new will be in it tomorrow. You understand? You're not going to find anybody who's going to secure it for you for 3 months from now. Okay, thank you. So now what? Well, I tried another couple of people in case I just thought, well, people say New Yorkers are rude, which, by the way, you think what you want. I don't think they're rude. I think they get to the point because they got a lot to do, and it's a fast pace, you see. But anyway, that's another conversation for another time. So anyway, it seems that our plan to plan ahead of time was not going to work. So plan B was we were just going to move out there. And my wife's mother helped us out in a big way. She had some connections to a hostel down at Union Square. And she was going to be able to let us use this one-room cold water apartment hostel for $100 a day, which, depending on where you are, might sound like a lot, but for, downtown New York, $100 a day is a good rate, even though it didn't have its own bathroom. Now, we didn't have a ton of money, but we figured if we got in and we only needed to stay there a couple of days, it'd be okay. Now, we didn't take a car to New York because where are you going to park it? Are you going to really drive around in New York City? So we sold our cars. That was primarily where I came with in terms of savings, is I sold my Firebird. And then my wife had saved some money from her job working at an architecture office as an intern. And we hung out there. Because we didn't take a car, we took 14 suitcases, okay? That my mother-in-law and my wife's sister used as their carry-ons and luggage. So we just took our lives in 14 suitcases and no furniture to a city where we didn't have an apartment. And we set up our bags on the floor in this little hostel with 2 twin beds and a cold water sink. And you had to climb over the bags just to get to your bed. Oh man, look at this. Look at this. This is great. This is great. If I'd played this in the arcade, I would have been thrilled. I would have been talking about it all the time. So, we get there. It's taking a while. Several days of looking, and it's difficult to find a place. And you talk to someone on the phone, and then you get out there 2 hours later, and you're trying to navigate the subway systems that you don't know how to use, and you finally get to the address, and nobody's there. Or you get to the address, and they said somebody else just took it. Or you get to the address, and they say, here's some paperwork to fill out, and you do that for an hour, and then they get on the phone, and then they come over after you've filled out all the paperwork for an hour, and they say, sorry, someone else just got it. Like, why wasn't I able to get it on the phone like whoever this schmuck just did? No offense to that schmuck. I was just frustrated about the apartment situation, sir. I assure you, I don't believe that about you. So, it was difficult. And I even went to my grad school orientation without a local address to give them. They said, all right, address, please. I said, I gave them a Texas address. They said, oh, no, I need a local address, please. I said, mm-mm. She said, oh, okay. Well, let us know when you get an address. Looked at me real sad, right? And I was like looking around like, should I be more worried about my situation than I am? So we kept looking. We kept trying to find a place, but it was hard. Finally, we decided on an apartment locator. We didn't want to pay the fee, but we needed an apartment. So we go to this apartment locator and we schedule an appointment and we meet them in the morning. And we gave them our specifications, what we could afford and what neighborhoods we kind of wanted to live in. We didn't know much. We were just going by like close to our schools kind of thing. Well, they had a few for us. And that morning we walked around 3 or 4 different apartments. And it wasn't impressive. In fact, we wound up after that morning being really dejected and fearful that we'd made a mistake. You get these dreams of New York, and then you get there and you see some of these places, rundown buildings, super tiny, no heating, no air, one room with a fridge next to where you'd set the bed and a bathroom. We came away a little bit concerned that we'd made a mistake, you see. And the realtor or apartment finder, whatever he was, he told us, he said, I can tell you, you're a little disappointed. Well, tell you what, why don't you go to lunch? And when you come back in an hour, I'm going to crunch some numbers. I'll show you some other options. We're going to get you something. And then he broke it to us. Honestly, he said, listen, you're not the only folks having this trouble. Right now, Manhattan has a 0.08% occupancy rate, meaning that less than 0.1% of apartments are free for the taking right now. And I have to be honest, your current financial situation further limits you. You never want to hear that. So we went away for lunch, and we decided to get a sandwich and talk about our options and try to bolster ourselves and get ourselves, ready and determined. I talk a lot of good things about New York, but I'm going to complain because more than my love for New York is my love for complaining in general. So I'm going to complain about something New York-y for a second, okay? Sharing fees, New York. Don't approve of it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check this out. If I go to a deli, I'm going to get a good sandwich, right? A fantastic sandwich. I'm talking about delicious meats, pastrami's, corned beefs, whatever you want, piled high in bread, but sliced super thin, expertly put together sandwich, right? Great breads, great condiments, great kosher pickle. Oh my God, the kosher pickles. But they're so big you'd want to share, especially if you're trying to be thrifty. But if you go in to a deli and there's two of you and you order one sandwich, you're going to find in a lot of places on your bill, sharing fee. I said, what's this? Well, that's because you shared. Well, the meat and the bread and all that didn't cost you anymore just because I shared it with somebody. What, if I brought in 8 hungry people and shared my sandwich? You get a... Well, there's just no negotiating. It's New York is set in its way. This is how New York is. You don't like it? Go to Omaha. You won't have sharing fees in Omaha, but you also won't have this. Right? Okay. Point made. So on this occasion, my wife stayed out on the street looking up, trying to continue to look up apartments, and I'm in there getting a sandwich by myself to avoid the sharing fee. Well, before I get the sandwich, my wife rushes in. She says, hey, you remember that place we were looking at in Harlem yesterday? I said, yeah. She said, they called, and if we can get up there right now, we might have a chance at it. Oh, man. So we jumped on the subway. We just missed our afternoon appointment with the other guy, who's probably working plenty hard for us. Ran up, got the A train, took it to 125th Street Station. 125th Street, man. It's just the heart of Harlem. It's a buzz of energy and music and people, and we realized we were walking into just this huge, thriving world we knew nothing about. And it's a lot, but we were zeroed in on finding a place. Listen, am I going to call us homeless in this situation? No, because that is a terrible situation for people who really don't have options. And we had options. We were staying in a hostel. We could have tucked tail and went back and lived back with our parents or our family or friends in Texas, or got an apartment in Texas and say, no, this was too hard for us. We couldn't do it. So I'm not going to go so far as to use that homeless thing. But I was looking for a home, and I was determined to get one. So we get to the place in Harlem. For the 125th Street Station, we get off at the A train, took it down to 121st Street, turned on St. Nicholas, and found our place. We knew it was ours right when we got there. This old but beautiful brownstone, 4 stories high, and we were on the 4th floor. So it was a walk up, no elevator. So it was, 4 flights every day, up and down. But you got fit because you were living in New York. When we got up there, you know what? It was clean, nice hardwood floors. It was small, 450 square feet, but it looked like home. We took it, and we lived there the entire time we lived in New York. One beautiful thing was we had roof access. We were the only ones in the building because right outside our front door was a little ladder to go up to the roof. And we weren't technically supposed to go up there. But the landlord never walked up to the fourth floor because we always paid, so he never had a reason to come. And we were always very careful. And so even though we only had 450 square feet in that apartment, once we lived there and got comfortable, we'd also go up on the roof, and you'd sit up there from Harlem and look downtown and look at New York. And it was another 450 square feet outside for just us. And it was cold, but it felt like hours. And it was finally this feeling that New York decided, okay, you're all right. You know, like the bouncer, like bouncer in an exclusive club. You go, you worried about your clothes, or like, are you acting okay? You're gonna get in, and he has got that clipboard, and he looks at you for a second. Well, New York looked at us for a long second, like several days, while we looked for a place, and finally said, all right, I guess. So we got in, and from there, we had to get a job because, of course, you got to pay first month, last month, and security. And I got to say, after we paid all three of those, that was close to half of our money total. It was time to get a job, and it was time to start going to school. But I eventually got a job. I've told you many stories about my time at Books of Wonder, many more stories to come. I'm glad you hung out with us today. I know, hey, listen, I know I didn't play a ton of the game, but I beat the Hydra. Have you beaten the Hydra? I don't think so. Let's finish this beverage. Thanks for being here. Please hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. We're happy that you're here with us at the Like-Minded Lunatics, and you are a like-minded lunatic if you choose to be. There's no test. That's a moniker you get to select for yourself if you want it. And let's finish this beverage. So in between now and the next time I talk to you, I'm Todd. See ya.